Hello, and welcome everybody to another episode of Strick and Roll. I'm your host, Shwin. This is episode 57. I am joined, actually, for a back-to-back appearance. He is the artist formerly known as Will _NBA _fan. Will, who hates the Nets. He is now Will Celtics 2000, who is doing the Lord's work in our collective attempts at jinxing the Boston Celtics from winning a championship this season. Will, how are you doing on this Saturday afternoon? On a nice Saturday afternoon, and for us, apparently, a sober St. Patrick's Day weekend Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, well, at least for now. The well, I don't know what you're talking about with this reverse jinx. I mean, anybody who follows who's been a follower of my Twitter knows that I am a lifelong Celtics fan. It's right there in my pinned tweet.
Yeah,
we're coming.
Tatum MVP.
We're coming for banner 18. I have famously always supported Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and said they are correctly rated by the media.
I mean, the thing that people don't get about Tatum is he's just such a good teammate that he allows everybody else to thrive when he plays with them. He actually actively chooses to suck at the end of games to elevate his teammates. It's very impressive stuff. All right, before we get started, I do have to make a few announcements. The first being Strickland has an Instagram. Check that out. That is at the Strickland on Instagram. We post all kinds of new content on there. The Strickland also has a YouTube channel where you maybe watch this podcast. If you are and have not done so already, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment. That'd be a huge help to us. The Strickland also has merchandise, which you can find on our website at www.thestrick.land. You can find all kinds of cool stuff on there: t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, coffee mugs, water bottles, you name it, we've got it. And finally, the Strickland has a Patreon, which you can subscribe to. There are a number of different tiers. There's a $6 tier that gives you access to Pod Strickland podcast that I host every Friday with Prez. You also get access to our newest podcast, Takes from Obvious Bozos, that is hosted by Andrew Steele, aka Doug, along with Zach Blatter. And you get access to the Strickland Discord, where the conversation never stops. There are further tiers. There's a $9 tier that gets you access to this pod right here, Strick and Roll, where I rant and rave with anything more. You also get access to wonderful premium articles by Matthew Miranda, who just dropped a doozy of a piece this week, previewing potential playoff matchups and playoff opponents that the Knicks might have. And you get access to Strictly NFL, which is our NFL pod that is hosted by Constantine Metrikos. There are further tiers. That's a $15 tier, $30 tier, $50 tier, and a $100 tier. Those come with a variety of additional benefits, like listening on pod recordings, merchandise discounts, and even potentially co-hosting a podcast alongside yours one day, whether you choose to subscribe or not. None of this would be possible without you. And none of this would be possible without Bet Online. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or your mobile devices. Head to Bet Online today to become part of the team and use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online. The game starts here, and we've got a great new sponsor. I love betting my friends and betting them on anything, sports, games, who's fast. That's what Cut allows me to do. The Cut app is a peer-to-peer social betting platform that's legal in 40+ states. Cut has customizable odds, tracking capabilities, and an entire social network with group chats, user profiles, and rewards. All payments, no need for Venmo. What can you bet on? Well, you might want to bet on, let's say, the odds that the Knicks make the playoffs. They have a decent chance of doing it if OG Anunoby's arm stays attached to his body. We can only pray. Use our promo code BELIEVE-NICKS, BLEAV NICKS, for a 10% welcome deposit bonus. Don't forget that promo code. Again, that's BELIEVE-NICKS, BLEAV NICKS. Cut, put your money where your mouth is. All right. So we wanted to do an exercise today, inspired by Bill Simmons' truly awful and pathetic list of bad contracts in the current NBA. One of the worst attempts at that list ever. Somehow Bradley Beal lasted, I think, until pick 5.
Yeah,
who has pretty easily the worst contract in the league.
Yeah, the only argument I would hear is Poole over him, but I would rather have Beal. Poole, because I think the thing people don't even realize with the Beal deal is, since he has a no trade clause, like, even if you wanted to trade him, like, you with some theoretical assets attached that the Suns do not have, like, they couldn't if they try. Like, he'll just veto anything. Like, he's not going to allow. Like, it's one of the worst contracts in NBA history. And
yeah, it's terrible. It's awful, and it's exorbitant. It also is in, I think it's just his second year on this deal.
This is
right?
year 2 of 5. And he's like the same deal as like Jokic.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's an awful contract. Somehow that lasted till pick 5, though, just so you guys know how went. I gotta say, shout out to House, who brought some levity to that pod. House always doing work. All right. But our version is a little bit different. And for the most part, This is Will's show to run. We are listing the top 15 contracts, I believe here. He's ranked 15 contracts. These are contracts that have not yet been signed. Oh, I will throw in one addendum. I don't know if you included any of them, but I will throw this in. Rookie extensions that were signed last year but only kick in this upcoming season. Yeah. Those can count. Cool. But the three types of contracts we're going for are unrestricted free players that will be unrestricted free agents this upcoming offseason, players that will be entering restricted free agency this upcoming offseason, and players who are eligible to sign their rookie extensions this offseason. The Knicks don't have any of those because we traded Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickley. So no young Knicks will appear on this list, but maybe an older gentleman might. All right, Will.
Well, I just wanted to say that, it takes, anybody can hate on the likes of Ben Simmons and Bradley Beal, who have just broken down, but it takes a real level of hater to look at 21, 22, 23-year-olds and be like, I don't believe in your ability to improve.
You're bad.
Your contract will not be good.
Your contract is going to be bad. I hate you. We're a podcast that thrives on negativity, and we aspire to hate. So in that vein, I am going to hand you the keys, and it's time to let Will cook.
Well, so there's not. I don't think this is we'll never get another 2016, unfortunately. As much great podcasting content as that brought us, I don't.
2015 was pretty good too, because that was like teams were preparing for the jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always, but there's two guys who I think really stand out above the rest, and it's two players who I was formerly a fan of, when they were young and ascending, and I think still kind of slept up. But I think both of these guys have declined from their peaks, and people still sort of act like they're the same player they were 2-3 years ago. So number one on my board for worst contracts that will be signed this summer is newly acquired Indiana Pacer Pascal Siakam, which I think is a pretty obvious one.
Also, shout out House. House brought him up.
Yeah.
House brought him up. He illegally added him into that podcast.
Yeah, it was good. House is the GOAT. Yeah. Because when you get traded in right before you hit free agency, you really kind of have the team over a barrel. So I have one or two more guys like that. And Pascal is going to be 30, and I think before the playoffs, I know he's going to be 30 for this postseason if the Pacers are even in the playoffs, which is not 100% guaranteed. And his box score stats are still fine for the most part. His efficiency's pretty good. He's not nearly the defender he used to be. When they won the title and the year after, when they still won 57, the bubble year when they were still really good, he was an elite wing defender. And he's okay now, but he's definitely slipped quite a bit defensively from where he was. And he's always relied so much on athleticism. And he's about to be 30, and this is going to be a 4 or 5 year, I assume, basically max deal, because I don't think he would have agreed to the whole reason, because remember the Raptors and the Kings were basically had a deal done, and Pascal was the Kings didn't want to give him a max extension, so that's why the deal fell through. So I assume there's a wink that he's about to get a 5-year max upwards of $50 million a year, and I think that could be a disaster by the end of that. I respect for the Pacers for going for it. I hate when teams are just extremely risk averse and conservative all the time, but the Pacers are kind of why teams do that, because it looks like they made this relatively all-in move, and now they're kind of screwed. It didn't even really make them better. And
what do you make of the argument that they have not gotten better because Halliburton is playing in a diminished state?
Yeah, I mean, that's realistically probably what most of it is. So I guess we don't really know, because I don't think Tyrese Halliburton suddenly got monstered and is like Ricky Rubio now.
I wish he did.
As funny as it would be, because then he should be the first pick in this draft.
Yeah, he's gonna make All NBA regardless. So
if this is who he is now, then he should be the first pick. He is a 5-year, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that he is. Maybe it even takes until next year for him to bounce back completely, but I think that was enough of a sample size that.
His contract jumps, I think, just so people know. I think if he makes All NBA, I think it jumps to 5,260 or something. But if
Yeah,
not, it's 5-2-10 or something. Like
yeah,
something
it's like it'll be like in the 40s a year,
yeah,
or like upwards of 50 a year.
right.
Um, when excuse me, one second.
Oh, good. He's got sound coming out of his walls there. I think he's on pause. But yeah, the Halliburton thing is pretty interesting, just because like that difference is monstrous. And I mean, we've had players that have had that happen to them. Ja Morant, most famously last year, he signed his rookie extension, obviously, which was a designated player max, which basically means if you make All NBA or you win Defensive Player of the Year, I think those are the two things, or maybe even an All Defense, your contract, like, so when you sign a rookie extension, you can be a 25% max. If you get All NBA in that fourth year, you qualify to jump to the 30% max, which is like the 5,250 or 5,260, whatever it is. So Halliburton, the difference there, and Ja Morant, again, he famously signed this. Then he had one of the all-time blunder seasons last year, self-inflicted wounds all over the place.
I will just
And yeah,
sorry about that. I will be audio only for like a few minutes.
all good.
I don't think my face is super important to this podcast, but the,
You never know. You never know who's watching.
Yeah, some it does happen once in a while, but yeah, all of these Halliburton, and that's actually, because people will laugh at this. That's why the Ben Simmons contract is like even 10% worse than it was originally.
Yeah, because he qualified for that.
Because he made third team All NBA right before his extension kicked in. So I and Tatum, for example, didn't get it. Tatum didn't make All NBA.
Oh, that's right.
Until the last year before, so it didn't kick in. So Ben Simmons' rookie max was bigger than Jason Tatum's, which is pretty funny. But yeah, like I kind of don't know what the Pacers should do with this Pascal. Like I understood the vision, because I feel like he basically can play center offensively for them, because Turner mostly just stands in the corner. I've always been a big Miles Turner hater, but he, like when I watch Pascal, he's just not what he was. And I think as he becomes 32, 33, 34, it's just only going to decline further. And given his lack of shooting, and like he's a relatively high field player, so like I don't think he'll be like out of the league bad or anything. I think it could get pretty ugly pretty fast for him.
So looking at Pascal, since you brought up his declining defense, he's actually you're right though. It's basically lines up with after the bubble. So the bubble season, that's in 2020.
Yeah.
He was in the 75th percentile on defense. Since then, and this is by EPM, since then he's been at 60, 54, 48, and this year at 61. Like these are all percentiles, by the way. Yeah, so like his offense it's been pretty steady. I think he's actually at a really high. He's one of his best efficiency since 2019. Actually,
yeah, he's never been a super efficient guy.
Yeah, but like he's very, very interior scoring dominant. The shooting, like I know he's shooting better in Indiana than he was in Toronto, but the volume just is not there.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's like he's like a Josh, not even a Josh Hart level shooter, and like. If Josh Hart's shooting 30% or 40%, on the volume he's taking, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like Pascal is just like he's taking 2.8 threes per game, and he's shooting with Indiana, and he's shooting at 37.8%. Like nobody cares that you're talking about the difference.
Every time I watch, it's like wide open spot. They don't really guard him out there, which is
basically you're talking about the difference of like, is he going to go one? He's either going to go 0 for 3, 1 for 3, or 2 for 3. It just depends on the day, but nobody cares about that shit. The thing too with his deal is like Halliburton's going to make the All NBA, and then like to your point, first of all, it's Indiana. Okay, so they made this deal with kind of like the vision in their head of, okay, look, realistically, we're Indiana, guys don't want to come here. Like, we're never going to land a free agent, and also free agency is dead, right? Like the best guys are not hitting the market in free agency anymore. It just doesn't happen. So, and I think they saw, okay, Halliburton's going off this year. We need to get somebody. Be like, we have a chance, maybe in this East, to maybe make a conference finals run, right? And Pascal's out there, and to their kind of credit, I guess, because I do think he is the player that really would have elevated them to a higher level, like he's done for the Knicks. Although I have a feeling he's going to make an appearance on this list. Is OG Anunoby is like they tried to get Anunoby. The Knicks, I guess, they outbid them. So I'm assuming my take on that was always just that like Toronto put a super high priority on getting quickly and valued that. I don't know what Indiana offered because to me, if Indiana offered like Matherin and Walker, that would be pretty fucking interesting. I have no idea what they offered. The reporting was that like the Knicks effectively outbid them.